think you should.
Okay, so we've got it ready to plug into cleanflight now. I'll plug the USB in and it should come up on the screen. You can see there it says COM6 up in the top right corner. So that's ready to connect now to cleanflight. So we press connect and that will open it up. And you can see now the gyro is moving. So that's flat, that's calibrated flat anyway, that's fine. We have a look at the... Okay, what you can do is if you go to the CLI, bottom there, and if you type version, that will tell you what version is loaded onto your board, and that's cleanflight 3.0.0. Currently 3.0.1 is available at the moment, and 3.1 is just being released. It could actually be out now, I'm not sure. And just type in exit and that will come out of that. So we know what version we've actually got cleanflight on here. So we've actually got betaflight 3.0.0. But I use cleanflight to do my settings. If you look at the PIDs, I like to have my roll rate at 0.8, so we'll put that in at 0.8. I like to have my pitch rate at 0.8, and I like to have my yaw rate at 0.8. 0.8, and that's fine for that. The PIDs themselves, these are the standard PIDs for 3.0. I'll probably tweak them in another video, or maybe at the end of this video, or I might put a link in the top right hand corner for that. So we hit save, that saves that. Just make sure it's saved, and if we go to receiver, if you're unsure if anything's saved, you can always go back to it and have a look. Yeah, that's 0.8, so they did save. Go to receiver. There they are. Okay, so for my RC rate, that's set at 1, that's just there. And the Expo, RC Expo is set at 0. I like to have that set at 0.2. And hit save. So the RC rate is like a linear rate. The Expo, it puts a little bit of exponential curve in there. So what that means is at the lower point of your stick is a little bit more softer. So you can move your stick and it only does it gradually. And as you get towards the end of it, it becomes the amount that's the correct amount. So it sort of softens the middle up, makes it a bit easier to do lower controlled moves. And then the other rates sort of set at 0.8, that's sort of the rate at which it spins it and so on. So I have mine at 0.8, which is quite fast. Some people will put their RC rate up a bit higher than 1, so as you increase your RC rate, it becomes quicker to turn and stuff, as well, more responsive. The receiver tab, and I'll be running this in ppm. So if we come down to ppm, you'll see, if we come down on the receiver tab, you'll see at the bottom there, just over here, it says ppm, so that's what we're running that in. So I'll just check all my all my controllers are working. So I'll switch my controller on. Let's just push this back up to the top. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to calibrate the motors. So if you go over to the motor tab over here, and then you click the button where it says I understand that the propellers are off and removed, and then we raise the slider all the way up to the top like that, and then when you plug the battery in, just be careful because I have had it make the motor spin up in the past, so when you plug this in, the ESC should calibrate to the highest level. And they have, and then you just bring the slider back to the bottom and they will calibrate for the lowest level. So that's all my motors calibrated. Now the next thing you can do is if you just slide number 1 up, you'll see that number 1 here is moving, just to check that you've got the right motor order. If there is something wrong, then you can unsolder the signal cables and swap them around to the right corrective numbers, but I think these should be right. We'll just check. That one spins. You can also check the direction that they spin in. So number 1 was correct. Number 2 is correct. Number 3 is correct. Number 4 was correct. So they all seem fine. So I can uncheck that. And now that the battery is plugged in, I can check to see if they correspond to my...
Welcome to OpenTX.
So I do the throttle up.
Throttle warning.
Oh, let's go to the throttle up. That's right. Roll to the left, roll to the right, pitch forward, pitch back, and yaw to the right, yaw to the left. So that's correct. So next thing will be to set up your switches. So I've already gone ahead and done this. What I've done is I've set my arm switch to audio number 4, auxiliary number 4, sorry. My air mode is auxiliary 1, but I probably won't use air mode because I'll run my motors at minimum throttle, so they're always spinning. I have horizon mode in the past where I've had a little accident, gone into a tree or something like that. You can flick into horizon mode and it will level itself. I have had the quadcopter hit a tree and it's been tumbling completely out of control, and by putting it into horizon mode, I regain control of it. So I always have that on there. I know a lot of people don't bother, but it's worth having. Okay, so I'm going to check the arm now. And they're all spinning up. That all seems fine. Check the buzzer. Buzzer works. I'll just show you how I did the switches. If you go back to my receiver tab, you'll see the auxiliary 4. That's my flight modes. That's my buzzer. No, back to my configuration, sorry. And I have 1-shot enabled. My ESC support 1-shot. Throttle, which is here. No, sorry, minimum command is set at 1000. Maximum command is set at 2000. In most cases that means 1000 is 0, 2000 is maximum throttle or maximum command. And the minimum throttle is set at 1070. That means the motors will always be spinning. Now you can check how your motors spin, because what you can do is go back to the motor tab. You'll have to have a battery plugged in for this, so I'll just plug my battery back in. And if you check the button, and then you can move the slider up and see what your motors spin at. So mine is spinning there at 1100. That's just under 1056 there, and still spinning. 1040 they're still spinning, 1024 they're still spinning, so 1060 would be perfect. So I'll disable that and go back to my receiver. No, sorry, my configuration, sorry. And you can see that 1070 there, that will means my motors will always be spinning. So even if I drop the throttle to absolute zero, the motors will continue spinning. So if I'm free falling from the sky, I can still move the quadcopter about without it sort of tumbling out of the sky out of control. So I could lower that if I want, but I'm happy to leave it at 1070. But you have to have your arm switch, because if you well, you don't have to have the arm switch, but it's better to have an arm switch. So obviously for my modes, my arm here is auxiliary 4, so nothing can actually work on my sticks until it's actually armed. But that's the way I like to fly. You just got to remember, if you have a crash or something, you've got to disarm, otherwise your motors will be spinning on the floor, and they can burn the ESCs out or burn the motor out. Okay, let's get back outside.